Hello my friends! So today I'm going to talk about how I do a hot oil treatment on my hair. I mentioned this in the video before last where I talked about must-have products for relaxed hair care, and one of the things I mentioned is that I like to alternate my, deep conditioning treatment with a hot oil treatment. So one week I like to do a deep conditioning mask and the next week I like to do a hot oil treatment, and I'm just trying this out for now for a couple months to see how that's working on my hair, and so far it's working really nicely. And so a couple of you did mention you wanted to know how I do my hot oil treatment. So that's what I'm going to tell you. Also, I'm sorry about the lighting because it's probably going to continue to change every 5 seconds because I live in Florida and it rains every 5 seconds. Thank you. So first off, you can purchase a pre-made hot oil treatment from Desto. I do not do that because I noticed that a lot of those hot oil treatments have filler oils in them that we don't need in our hair and probably don't want in our hair. So for example, I have this one here that is a stimulating growth oil, and it's meant to be used as a hot oil treatment. It tells you all these nice things that are in there and that it can do for you, and I bought it because I'm a product junkie and I didn't read the ingredients, and later I read the ingredients and I noticed ingredient number 1, mineral oil. So if you're not aware, mineral oil is like petroleum. It is not that great to put on your skin, not that great to put on your hair. If you put it on your skin, it's going to most likely clog your pores because it sits on top of the skin and it's not absorbed. And if you put it on your hair, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to sit on top of your hair, and anything else that you put on your hair will not be absorbed because that mineral oil is creating a barrier. Think of petroleum jelly. So you wouldn't want to put petroleum jelly in your hair, so why would you want to put this in your hair? Right after it, it's got sweet almond oil, seed oil, and all kinds of oils, but how are those gonna penetrate our hair if you've got a layer of mineral oil sitting on there? So that is why I tend to stay away from the pre-mixed hot oil treatments, and I just go ahead and make my own because 1, it's cheaper, and 2, I can control what I'm putting in there. I can change it for depending on my needs for that week. If my hair is a little drier, if my hair needs a little extra like shine, whatever, I can change what oils I'm putting in there. So you can put whatever oils you want. They all have different purposes. I'm just gonna name the ones that I use and tell you why I use them, but just know that you can use basically any combination of oils that you want to use and it'll be great. So I use, first of all, castor oil. I use about a tablespoon of castor oil, Jamaican black castor oil, because it is great for stimulating hair growth. If you're putting it directly on your scalp, if you're putting it on your eyebrows, on your eyelashes, castor oil stimulates hair growth. So I use about a tablespoon of that, and be aware that castor oil has been known to darken light hair. So if your hair is really, really light, you've got blonde hair, really, really light brown hair, it might look like it's darkened a little bit, but that should wash, like, it should go away after a while, so don't worry about it. I also use coconut oil, because coconut oil is the holy grail oil. It is the fastest absorbing, the most moisturizing because it's so quickly absorbed. And I use about 2 tablespoons of that one. And something to be aware of, you never want to put your oil in the microwave because 1, you could catch yourself on fire, and 2, you don't want to get rid of any of those minerals and nutrients that are in the oil, and that can happen when you put it in the microwave. So if you need to melt your coconut oil, which you probably will, just go ahead and dunk it in some hot water, put the coconut oil in a container, put the container in some hot water, and that'll melt it really quickly. I skipped that step because I knew that I was going to be heating up the whole oil mixture, so I just went ahead and scooped my coconut oil right into my container, and then I knew that it would melt later. I use a tablespoon of grapeseed oil. Grapeseed oil has a fatty acid in there. I think it's linoleic oil, something like that, which is a fatty acid that's essential for hair growth and hair maintenance, and it's also really moisturizing, but grapeseed oil is actually one of the lightest oils that you can use. So if you've got thin hair or hair that gets oily really quickly, it's not going to weigh your hair down. So I did use grapeseed oil, and that's why. The last oil that I used is vitamin E oil. I just got it out of the little vitamin E capsules that you can take like orally, and all I did was poke a little hole right up in there and I squeezed it out. I used about 4 capsules of that. And vitamin E oil is really amazing for hair growth and hair maintenance because it actually helps to not only stimulate hair growth, but it actually helps to restore follicle damage. So if for whatever reason you've got follicle damage or some kind of something that's going on up there, it's going to help to restore it and to fight any problems that start at the root. And obviously hair grows from the root, so we want to make sure that we have healthy roots. So that is why I use vitamin E oil. Now, I didn't show this in the video, but I did actually add a few drops of peppermint oil. You can use whatever essential oil you want, if you want. It's not like a must-do type of thing. You can use eucalyptus for like relaxing. You can use, what's it called? What is that? Lavender oil. Peppermint oil. I use peppermint oil because it helps fight dandruff, it helps scalp flakiness. So if you're having a dry scalp issue, you can drop a little bit of peppermint oil in there and that'll take care of that. So I put my hot oil treatment into a little squeezy bottle that's very similar to this one with a spout type of top. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to apply the oil directly to my scalp and then down to the ends of my hair. A quick note about that. If you get really oily hair, you're going to want to make sure that you're applying the oil actually to the ends first and then up, and keep it away from your scalp. I was specifically putting it on my scalp because I really wanted to stimulate hair growth, I really wanted to moisturize my scalp, and I don't have really oily hair. I tend to have hair that's on the drier side. So for me personally, that's why I started from the scalp and worked my way down. And I also didn't want to soak the shaft of my hair, like the mid shaft of my hair, with oil because then that would be weighted down for the whole rest of the week until I washed it out. You have to decide what kind of hair you have so you can decide which way you want to do your hot oil treatment. So if you have oily hair, stay away from the roots and do mostly on the ends of your hair. And if you have problems with dry hair, you can do all over and apply liberally to the scalp and then work it on down to the ends. So that is what I did. You also want to make sure that you're not adding too much oil to your hair because again, that will weigh it down for the rest of the week. You just want to make sure that the hair is coated but not soaking. So actually the amount of oil that I made was kind of underestimating how much I would need because I didn't want to weigh it down. But once I put it all in my hair, I was like, okay, I need a little bit more. And luckily I do this every other week, so I had a jar of extra oil sitting around somewhere and I just added that and I added the rest of my hair. So I did use about twice as much as I actually made in the video, but it's so easy to make that if you notice you need more or less, you can either make a little bit more in like 2 seconds or you can just store the rest in an airtight container and use it the next time. So I did apply my hot oil treatment on dry hair, which seems like counterintuitive. But the reason I did that is because I really wanted the oil to penetrate. So had I wet my hair before, it would, with like warm water, it would have opened up the follicles, it would have, hair is very porous. So if you introduce a liquid to the hair, your hair is going to try to soak it up to the point where it can't soak anything else up. So if you're putting a deep conditioner, an oil, whatever on your hair and you really want it to absorb, you want to make sure that your hair is not that wet because if it's filled with water, it's not going to be able to absorb anything else. So when you're putting on your deep conditioners, you want to squeeze out the water that's in your hair and then apply your deep conditioner. So that is why I didn't wet my hair first. But of course, if you want to make sure that your hair doesn't get too oily, if you have a problem with getting oily hair, you can apply this oil treatment on wet hair because then it won't absorb as much. Now then you may be thinking like, well, how is it going to absorb like if your hair is dry? I don't know. That was my thought process. But if you think about it, you're going to dunk your hot oil treatment. I don't know why I'm using this as my example because this sucks. Oh, it doesn't suck, but it's kind of counting. Anyways, you're going to dunk your hot oil treatment in like a hot water bath. Heating up the oil is known to like really intensify the oil's properties, and that makes it super effective on your hair. And then once you put the hot oil treatment on your hair, you're gonna put a cap on. And what I like to do is actually get a towel and wet it with really, really hot water, wring the water out, and then put that on top of my head and wrap it around. This is going to make sure that I open the follicles of my hair even more, because the hot oil is going to do that, but putting a hot towel around my hair is going to do it even more. It's like your own little steam treatment. And when the towel cools off, which is going to do pretty quickly, it doesn't matter because you've already opened the hair follicle and all that stuff is already getting in there, so you're good to go. But if you want continued like heat on your hair, steam on your hair, I also like to wet my towel, put it on a plate and put it in the microwave, and then heat it up for like 15 to 30 seconds, and that'll make it nice and steamy, and you put it back on your head however many times you want to do it, and that will make sure that the follicles stay open and everything is like nice and penetratingness. And that's how you make sure that you get the most out of your deep hot oil treatment. Afterwards, you're going to wash as normal. I use my normal sulfate-free shampoo, my normal conditioner, but I did not deep condition because the hot oil treatment takes the place of the deep conditioning treatment. You don't want to put too much stuff in your hair, or you're just going to weigh it down and it's going to be counterproductive. So wash and shampoo and condition as normal. You may find that if your hair is extremely sensitive to oil, it gets really weighed down and oily, you might have to wash more than once, but I still wouldn't recommend using a sulfate shampoo just because sulfates will really strip your hair, and that would be, that wouldn't be very productive to put oils in your hair to moisturize it and then to strip them out with a sulfate shampoo. So make sure that you're not using a sulfate shampoo, although you may have to rinse your hair more than once, and that's okay. So afterwards, after I do this treatment, my hair is always very soft, very shiny. After this, I put it into flexi rods straight away. I didn't straighten it or blow dry it or anything. I just put it in flexi rods and then went to sleep. And my curls were really bouncy the next day. They were really shiny, and it keeps your hair nice and moisturized for the entire week. So A++ for hot oil treatments. I really, really love them. So if you have any other questions about how to do a hot oil treatment, what oils you should use, things like that, or if you have any tips on what you like to do with your hot oil treatment, I'm sure we would all love to hear them, so put them down below because I would love to hear about it. Everybody has their own little tips and tricks. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a huge thumbs up, and I will see you next time, guys. Bye!